Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the Lomachenko versus Ortiz breakdown video. Sorry for lagging on this. I failed to recognize the importance of this fight because Lomachenko is such a heavy favorite. But the thing is I do my breakdown videos pretty much for the big fights or the big names, and sometimes those coincide. But anytime Lomachenko fights, he's such a big, one of the biggest names in boxing. You got to do a breakdown video for his fights. You just have to, no matter who he's fighting. And Jermaine Ortiz maybe not giving him enough credit, for his victory over Jamel Herring, that pretty much retired Jamel Herring from the sport. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but this one is a big fight at lightweight right here. It is. You got Lomachenko, who's really waiting in the wings for a showdown with Devin Haney for the undisputed title. I mean, that's pretty much what's going to come for Lomachenko if he's victorious here. And Jermaine Ortiz trying to just pull off another upset, and maybe he's in the driver's seat to fight Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson, somebody on that level. I mean, Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson, somebody on that level. So a big fight right here on the 29th. Yes, it's to shake off. It's mostly a stay busy fight for Loma, or a shake off some rust fight ahead of a showdown with Haney, because Loma hasn't fought since last year. But Ortiz isn't a guy to be slept on, as Jamel Herring realized. So we're gonna break down this video like I normally do. We'll if it's a title fight, I start with the champion, and then go to the challenger, and we ask the same questions. But when it's not a title fight, I go with the favorite and then the underdog, and do it like that. So we ask the same questions, and at the end, I ask if it's better for boxing if one or the other wins, and then finally I give my prediction. So let's jump into it. We start with the favorite, the former 3-division world champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Vasily Lomachenko. Again, one of my favorite fighters in boxing. And in my opinion, I've said this many times, overall, I think he's the most purely talented fighter I've ever seen, period. And he's coming into this fight. Yes, he's trying to shake off some rust. He hasn't fought since December of last year when he defeated Richard Comey. And his last 3 fights date back to 2020 against Teofimo Lopez, when he lost by a decision. I thought it was controversial. I thought the fight was a draw personally, but I didn't have a problem with Lopez walking away the close winner in that one. But then he bounced back in 2021 with dominant performances over Masayoshi Nakatani, dominated him, stopped him in 9, and then he fought Richard Comey in December, put him down a couple times, and dominated him over 12 rounds to a one-sided decision. So now he's coming in against Ortiz, undefeated fighter here, looking to showcase himself again. And Lomachenko just, I think part of the reason picking Jermaine Ortiz over a guy like Jeffrey, God, what the hell is his name? Nakathila, was because, this guy doesn't have a loss on his resume. So Lomachenko would love to be the first loss on this guy's resume. That's a big deal for a lot of fighters, and I think that's why he's taking him on instead of Nakathila, who beat Miguel Berchelt, knocked him out earlier this year. So it's a big fight right here for Loma. He's coming in just, needing this victory. And, let's jump into the questions that I always ask. We start with, what kind of style does Lomachenko need to have to win this fight? He's only given up a couple inches in height, which he normally does, and about 1.5 inches in reach. So Lomachenko, in my opinion, shake off the rust, yes, but Ortiz is not a big power puncher. I think Lomachenko can afford to be very aggressive and go after Jermaine Ortiz. I really think he can afford to do that, and I think that's what he should do. So I think go in there, be aggressive. Yeah, try to get some rounds in, but be aggressive, put on a good show to really hype up an undisputed title fight with Devin Haney. That's what I think Lomachenko needs to do. Go in there and just be very aggressive against Ortiz. Now, can Lomachenko win this fight by knockout? I mean, I don't see why not. Ortiz, really, you look at his resume, he hasn't fought enough fighters to show me enough good fighters. He's really only fought Jamel Herring to show me that he's got a monster chin. He's never been in a ring with somebody like Loma who just wears you down. Yeah, I believe Loma could probably knock him out just based on experience and who the, the kind of punchers he's fought prior to Loma. So yeah, absolutely. Can he win a decision? Of course. I mean, I think he could definitely win a decision. That's his game, to win rounds and put those rounds in the pocket, So, and in the bank. So yeah, absolutely, he could win a decision. What does a win mean here? What does a win mean for Lomachenko against Ortiz? It's definitely, it's definitely not even close to being the biggest of his career, but it's a stepping stone to potentially the biggest win of his career if he can get the showdown with Devin Haney, which looks very makeable. It looks likely to be next. So if Lomachenko can get in there and score a big win here and keep himself going, the Devin Haney undisputed title clash is on the horizon, and that's a huge fight for Lomachenko. Again, a win over Haney might be the biggest of his career to this point. It probably would be. So it could lead to that. So a win over Ortiz is big for Lomachenko here if he can get it. What does a loss mean for Lomachenko if he were to lose to Jermaine Ortiz? Oh, that would totally kill Lomachenko right there in terms of his hype and his, where he stands in boxing right now. It would be devastating to his career. He cannot afford to lose this fight. Both of his losses prior, Orlando Salido was a controversial decision in that one against an overweight fighter, and then Lopez was a controversial decision too, but Lopez is considered to be a highly regarded fighter. Ortiz isn't. Ortiz has had one win over an aging Jamel Herring who is coming in off of a beatdown loss to Shakur Stevenson. So a loss right here for Lomachenko, any kind of a loss would really hurt his, his career trajectory and his brand big time. So yeah, a loss would be bad. Let's look now at the major underdog, the undefeated Jermaine Ortiz, heading into this fight with Lomachenko. Most people will feel that he's head over his heels, in over his head, I should say, coming in, and he really is. I mean, on paper, he is definitely in over his head. Now, he's riding this fight, he was the underdog against Jamel Herring in their fight earlier this year, and he went in there and he convincingly defeated Jamel Herring. But Jamel Herring is not Vasily Lomachenko. Not even close. This is a bigger, way bigger fight, way bigger challenge. But he is, you can argue, and it's a good argument, that this guy has been in the underdog role just this year. He's coming off his career best win. So he's kind of riding his own coattails high and riding a lot of confidence right now. So he's coming in ready to go. He wouldn't have signed a fight if he wasn't. Now he has a 2-inch height advantage and an 1.5-inch reach advantage, so not that big of a deal. What kind of style does he need to have to win this fight? Well, he really needs to try to punch with Loma because I think Loma's going to be aggressive in this fight. I think he needs to allow Loma to come to him, not in the middle of the ring. If I'm Ortiz, I'm kind of fighting off my back foot and trying to load up on Loma. And definitely, when Loma throws a jab, he's got to throw a jab, because Loma is so fast and incredibly, smart that he's got to kind of jab for jab with Lomachenko. I think that would be a smart, technical thing to do. And then he's got to try to land that right hand down the middle. I mean, he really does. He's got to try to hurt Loma, put Loma in his place and let him know, hey, I'm here to fight. He's got to be a little aggressive and definitely fearless. He cannot be afraid of the aura and the, the shadow that Vasily Lomachenko cast. He can't get caught up in the moment. And, and he can, if all that could work in his favor, you never know. He might be able to pull off the upset. Can Ortiz win this fight by knockout? I mean, I've only seen Linares really hurt Lomachenko, where he caught him with something big and put him down. Loma was more stunned a stunt, a flash knockdown. He got caught, off balance, but it was still a legitimate knockdown. But again, I haven't seen Loma really hurt badly, but he's not a big guy for the division. So, yeah, I mean, maybe Ortiz could catch him with something big, but that's a big maybe. So I don't see it happening, but you never know. Can he win a decision? I mean, Lopez won a decision, and it was close. Maybe if Lomachenko decides to not fight a certain amount of rounds and get himself going, but I really think Loma's learned from that mistake, and I don't think he's going to repeat that mistake, especially against a guy like Ortiz. So, in my opinion, I don't think he can win a decision, but hey, again, you never know. But it's more likely a decision than a knockout, I guess. But then again, that's even 50-50. Who knows? So now what does a win mean for Jermaine Ortiz? It would be monumental. This would be the biggest victory of his career. It would throw him into the serious mix, and possibly he fights for the undisputed title against Devin Haney. But it would be absolutely huge for Ortiz if he could pull off the upset over Loma in this one. Life-changing for sure. What does a loss mean for Ortiz? Well, it would be the first of his career, and a guy's first loss is always tough, but I don't think anybody's really expecting this guy to win. So if I'm if I'm Ortiz, he should ride into that with that kind of attitude, like he's got nothing to lose, and know that this that it might not blemish him too badly to lose this fight. He might even adopt some kind of a, what do you call that, like a journeyman or gatekeeper kind of mode, where guys will fight him in the future just because he was in the ring with Loma and he defeated, Herring. Kind of the reason that Loma's fighting him now, because he beat Jamel Herring. He can carry that kind of stigma with him going forward, that reputation, and that might get him bigger fights. So, I don't think it's going to devastate him too badly if he loses. I mean, but it also depends on how he loses, Maybe if Loma goes out there and absolutely beats the shit out of him, I don't think he's going to be taken very seriously going forward. But then again, people still might want to fight him because he's been in a ring with Loma and Loma smashed on him. So he might be kind of a measuring stick opponent moving forward. So a loss, at the end of the day, a loss will not hurt Ortiz, in my opinion, that much. But now the final two questions. The first is it better for boxing if Vasily Lomachenko, or if Vasily Lomachenko wins, or if Jermaine Ortiz wins? And that's easy. It's Lomachenko. I mean, Ortiz is not that big of a name. He got a quiet decision win over Jamel Herring, and it wasn't even something that was really talked about all that much. It definitely moves him in the mix in probably the deepest division of boxing, lightweight. But I don't think anybody's expecting him to win this fight. And if he were to win, I think it really hurts boxing, to be honest, because Lomachenko is one of your, right now, in my opinion, he's like a Mount Rushmore guy in boxing right now. He really is. He's that big of a star worldwide, and he's so ultra talented. And I think boxing absolutely needs Loma to win to set up the fights with Devin Haney for undisputed, to set up a potential fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. Those are fights that are on the horizon for Loma, and I really think he needs to, it's way bigger and better for boxing if Lomachenko wins this fight. Absolutely. Now, my prediction on this fight, who's going to win this lightweight showdown between Vasily Lomachenko and Jermaine Ortiz? I'm going to be straight with you guys. I don't think Jermaine Ortiz stands a chance in hell. I really don't. Maybe that puncher's chance of him getting lucky and landing that one big shot, hey, I've seen it happen before. You never know. But in terms of his experience and then who he's fighting, I think Lomachenko's going to go in there and just take him out. And it might end in the first 6 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to the middle to later rounds, because Lomachenko's just that kind of fighter. He breaks you down and beats you up. But I think Lomachenko's out for blood. I think he wants the fight with Haney, and I think he's trying to shake off that 9-month, or well, what's going to be a 10-month rust. And I think he's fucking hungry. I think he's ready to go, and I think Lomachenko's just going to absolutely destroy Jermaine Ortiz in this fight, dominate him, and stop him in the middle to later rounds, and move forward towards an undisputed title shot with Devin Haney. Lomachenko knows the score. He knows what is at stake, and he's going to go get that victory. So that's it. That's what I got. That is the breakdown video for the lightweight showdown between Vasily Lomachenko and Jermaine Ortiz. They collide Saturday, October 29th on ESPN. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.